May the peace, mercy, and blessings of Allah be upon you. Welcome back to our channel, HistoryTube. Today we will discuss the story of Hürrem Sultan, from slave to empress, a history of an enigmatic female power. Hürrem Sultan, a woman who has generated much debate in historical accounts, was undoubtedly the most influential woman in the Ottoman Empire. She was the beloved wife of Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent, one of history's most powerful rulers, and a mysterious figure whose legacy continues to be explored through new interpretations, writings, and ongoing efforts to recover lost information about her life. Hürrem Sultan died in 1558. Yet over 4 centuries after her death, she still captivates history enthusiasts. Also known as Roxelana, Hürrem was not merely an imperial consort or wife. Rather, she embarked on an extraordinary journey from slavery to the highest echelons of imperial power. She transformed herself into such a formidable personality that she reshaped the political landscape of the 16th century Ottoman court. From the 14th century until the early 20th century, the Ottoman Empire dominated southeastern Europe, southwestern Asia, and North Africa. It is regarded as one of the largest and longest-lasting empires in history. According to many historians, Hürrem's rise marked the beginning of what became known as the Sultanate of Women, a period during which women in the Ottoman royal family wielded unprecedented influence. In Turkish, this era was referred to as Kadınlar Sultanati, meaning a time when women reached positions of leadership and governance. With Hürrem's ascent, women began exerting an unparalleled level of influence within the empire. The harem, the private section of the palace where the sultan's wives, concubines, female relatives, and female slaves lived, became a significant political force during this time. Detailed records document Hürrem's presence in the Ottoman harem and the years that followed. Even so, despite the passage of hundreds of years, mystery and controversy still surround Hürrem's true identity, who she really was and where she came from. Was she a captive taken from the region of Ukraine? Was she the daughter of an Orthodox priest, or perhaps, according to more unexpected theories, an Italian noblewoman kidnapped by pirates? From captivity to royal court. Most historians believe Hürrem Sultan was born in the early 16th century in Ruthenia, a historic region now part of Ukraine, Poland, and Belarus. There are no definitive records of her birth name. Some Ukrainian sources refer to her as Alexandra Lasowska or Anastasia. Others suggest she was known in Western Europe by names such as La Rosa, Rosanna, Roxelana, Roxana, or Roxelana. However, official Ottoman documents refer to her as Hasiki Hürrem Sultan. In Persian, Hürrem means joyful or cheerful, and Hasiki is an honorific title reserved for the mother of the Sultan's child. Some sources claim she was the daughter of an Orthodox priest, while others believe she was born into a peasant family. Turkish professor Feridun Emerson claims to have found documents stating that Hürrem was captured by Crimean Tatar raiders in the town of Rahatyn, which was then part of the Polish state and is located in present-day western Ukraine. She was later sold into slavery. As a teenager, Hürrem was brought to the Ottoman Empire and gifted to the mother of Prince Suleiman. Another Turkish academic, Zeynep Darim, explains this further. This prince would later become Sultan Suleiman the Magnificent. Historians say Hurrem likely entered the harem around 1520, as her first child with Suleiman, Prince Mehmed, was born the following year. Breaking a 100-year-old tradition, Suleiman married Hurrem, an act that astonished the royal court and elevated her status to unprecedented heights. No other Ottoman sultan had ever married a concubine before. Italian origins? Despite widespread agreement that Hurrem was of Ruthenian descent, alternative theories about her background persist. The term Ruthenian was used by Western and Central Europeans in the Middle Ages to describe inhabitants of Eastern European regions. One particularly controversial claim was made by researcher Dr. Rinaldo Marmara, who said he discovered a manuscript in the Vatican archives stating that Hurrem was actually an Italian noblewoman from the Merciali family of Siena named Margherita. According to him, both she and her brother were captured by pirates and later sold as slaves at the Ottoman court. Marmara further claimed that the manuscript suggests a familial relationship between Sultan Mehmed IV and Pope Alexander VII, raising doubts about her Ruthenian origins and hinting at a secret noble lineage. However, historians remain skeptical. Professor Darim warns that more evidence is needed to substantiate these claims. She points out that Venetian envoys' records from that time contain no detailed mention of such matters. These diplomatic reports were considered the most reliable source for court gossip and political affairs of the time. If such information existed, it would have surfaced long ago. Professor Emerson also shares this skepticism. He acknowledges that Hurrem did correspond with the Polish royal family, but believes it was likely part of formal diplomacy, not proof of noble heritage. Russian witch. Confusion surrounding Hurrem's identity has only grown due to how she was described in various sources. During the Ottoman era, some documents and poems occasionally referred to her as the Russian witch, a derogatory epithet coined by critics. This label was especially used after the execution of Prince Mustafa, Suleiman's eldest son, by another woman. Mustafa was the first heir apparent to the Ottoman throne. It was widely believed that Hurrem played a role in his death to clear the path for her own sons to ascend the throne. Professor Emerson explains that in the Ottoman context, the word Rus was not used exclusively to refer to ethnic Russians. Rather, it was a geographical designation applied to people from any northern region, including what is now Ukraine and Belarus. At that time, there was no modern Russia as we know it today. People referred to someone from the Rus region as Russian. Ukrainian historian Vitaly Chervenenko notes that in the 16th century, areas in Poland where Ukrainians lived were called Rusk provinces, and Rohatyn was part of that. Ukrainians were referred to as Rusins, but they had no connection to Russia. Political significance today. In recent years, Hürrem Sultan's identity has gained new political significance, particularly in Ukraine, where she is celebrated as a national figure. There is a sculpture dedicated to her in Rohatyn, her alleged birthplace, and her name appears alongside Suleiman's in a mosque in Mariupol, now occupied by Russia. In 2019, at the request of the Ukrainian embassy in Ankara, the inscription on Hürrem's tombstone in the Suleimani Mosque complex in Istanbul was updated, removing references to her being of Russian origin. The revised inscription now highlights her Ukrainian heritage, reflecting how Hurrem's legacy carries weight in the context of modern geopolitics. Charitable works. Hurrem's influence extended far beyond the walls of the harem. Perhaps her most enduring contributions were her charitable works. She established mosques, free kitchens, soup kitchens, and public institutions in Istanbul and Jerusalem, which were under Ottoman rule at the time. The Haseki district of Istanbul still bears her name today. Historical records indicate that Hürrem Sultan died naturally in Istanbul on April 15, 1558. Her body was buried in the Suleymani Mosque. Later, on the orders of Sultan Suleiman, a tomb was built at her burial site. With her death, an extraordinary life came to an end, but the questions surrounding her continue to endure. Whether she was a Ruthenian captive, an Italian noblewoman, or simply a misunderstood powerful woman, Hürrem Sultan remains one of the most intriguing and controversial figures in both Ottoman and global history. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through history, like, comment, and share with fellow history lovers. On HistoryTube, we uncover forgotten tales, legendary lives, and epic events, from prophets to emperors, from revelations to battles. Subscribe and hit the bell to never miss an episode. Join us as we travel through time, from creation to the end of the world. HistoryTube, where the past comes alive.